Even from the air, it's hard to comprehend the magnitude of exactly what's happened. The town's mayor says this is worse than Cyclone Tracy. There's no water, there's no power, there's open sewerage. This is as bad as it gets.
Jonathan Lee is there tonight. And Jono, are there any leads in this investigation?
Well, Georgie, just in the last few moments, police have released a description of the victim. She's described as being in her late teens to early 20s, 165 centimetres tall, of slim build with an olive complexion. Now, for much of the day, police have been searching this parkland here behind me, and the SES have been with them every step of the way. While the damage is extensive, it could have been far, far worse. This is now the front line in the battle to clean up Laidley CBD. The floodwaters stormed through the front door, knocking over the counters, then tore off the back roller doors, dumping the majority of the stock outside in the scrub.
I know it's all stuff, but it's all gone.
It's your stuff.
It's my stuff.
Lieutenant Rob Jarvie is just 24. He commands more than $10 million worth of ASLAD firepower.
Nothing beats commanding one of these vehicles.
It's not just about the military hardware, but also the history. This Turkish flag was captured by an Australian medic following the famous charge of the Light Horse Brigade at Beersheba. The firepower aboard the George Washington is mind-boggling. It has 45 Super Hornets. Bear in mind that Australia has less than 100 fighter jets. Consider all of that and then think the US has 9 other aircraft carriers just like this. To give you a sense of just how enormous one of these is, a Globemaster can carry an Abrams tank. There's enough room in here for 3 Black Hawk helicopters. Australia now has 7, with an 8th and final one on the way. Tomorrow marks 100 years to the day that Billy Singh landed at Gallipoli. But for 50 years after his death, he was as good as forgotten, buried somewhere here at the cemetery in an unmarked pauper's grave.
His first words were, "Are you going to go to the police?"
Yeah, to give you a very tame version of how this happened, Lockie, coloured lights were set up outside the councillor's office telling the next wave of victims when they could and couldn't enter. A former teacher conceded it was strange. Strange doesn't come close, it was sick.
Very tough to listen to. Jonathan Lee, thank you very much.
Jonathan Lee is in Cooktown tonight. And Jonathan, what are conditions like there at the moment?
Well, Georgie, for much of the day, it's actually been hauntingly calm, but over the past hour, winds have steadily begun to intensify. It's incredible to think that up until Cyclone Ida hit last year, Cooktown had actually gone 65 years without being buffeted by a major cyclone, but this year they are ready. They brought in the Swiftwater rescue teams, the urban search and rescue. They've got generators on standby. They know exactly what they have to do if things go wrong. The locals here expect they could be cut off for a couple of days. Now, we've been told that a crisis accommodation centre is open this afternoon. Around 20 people have already indicated to the council that they intend to stay the night, but the mayor tells us there is room for up to 800 people. The dawn before disaster, and Queensland's far north coast looked the picture postcard. Imagine at 3:50 in the morning, a stolen vehicle pulls up here outside the store. In the quiet streets, the sounds of sledgehammers smashing through the windows echoes through the CBD. It's that very sound that alerts the nearby businesses.
An everlasting smile, a smile can bring you near.
For Barry, this is very much a bittersweet moment, the euphoria of a hometown parade, but the knowledge that his brothers can't be with him here to celebrate. Foolishly, I took their word and strapped in. For many, what the Ekka is all about is the rides. This year, there's more than 40 to choose from, but finding the courage to do it is really a whole other story! Not easy to get in or out of, but of all the cars here, few have the racing pedigree of Alan Moffat's 1969 Trans Am Mustang. From 151 starts, it had 101 victories. It is the ultimate when it comes to a driver's machine. And what's the collective noun for a group of New South Welshmen?
Gallons.
Gallons of New South Welshmen?
Yeah, gallon. Mafty gal.
It should be just enough time to get home and back to work. One more Happy New Year! That'll do me, Tash.
Jono, have fun.
Jonathan Lee has this special report from Cloncurry.
Out here in northwest Queensland right now, farmers say the only thing that's growing is debt, and fast. Many farmers have their backs against the wall, victims of what they describe as a perfect storm. a storm that cruelly doesn't involve any rain. It's quite confronting, but this family has just asked for the charity's help. 4 weeks ago, their father broke his neck in a construction accident. For the past month, he's laid outside every day amongst the dogs and the chickens. Without the charity's help, the family has no one it can turn to.
I feel like we should be doing more.
From every angle, Cuba is a country of contrasts. An island trapped in a time warp, desperate for help, but reluctant to alter its political course. While tourism may be the country's future, it also has its drawbacks. Businesses which have been struggling for years are driving up prices to cash in, making everyday goods more expensive for struggling local families.
Returning now to our developing story, and police have set up a crime scene in the Lockyer Valley. And Jonathan, what can you tell us?
Well, good evening, Georgie. We're in agricultural land, farmland, about 10 kilometres south of Gatton. Mount Sylvia Road is behind me. You can see the police officer over my left-hand shoulder and a farmhouse at the very top of this service road. You would think a bristling buffet at Brisbane's best food would be enough to keep the journalists going, but that's not the case. More than 1,000 kilos of coffee beans have been ordered. And with the 2 biggest days of the summit still to go, you can bet every drop will be needed. The media aside.
We cross now to Jonathan Lee. And Jonathan, the US President is about to leave, huh?
He certainly is, Mike. We can tell you he's just boarded Air Force One and he's about to depart Australia. It really has been a sight to behold. Describe Pauline Hanson in one word.
Passionate.
Describe Bill Shorten in one word.
Pathetic.
Tony Abbott.
Hopeless.
Jonathan Lee, 10 Eyewitness News.
I knew this was coming. Oh, look at this. Is this? I like to wake up to Paul every morning. Just a little bit of magic. I wake up.
I feel slightly unclean.
Kenny Rogers is going to be here as well. 60,000 people all making their way here. It's an incredible pilgrimage, so it's pretty nice to be a part of it, and it certainly doesn't lack any authenticity, as you can see.
Did you say Kenny Rogers, Jono?
Kenny Rogers, got to know when to hold him, know when to fold him, Kath.
Get out!
He's in Australia.
Oh, that's unreal.
The problem with steak, though, is you can only have one. Beer, on the other hand.
I better get back to work.
It's only 11:15.
This is Australia.